very good evening to all my friends present here. The theme for this TED Talk, as you've heard already, is I think, therefore I am. And have I expanded that a little bit more to suit what I'm going to talk about? And if you saw the standee in front, it says that. Do everything you can to make a better world. Do everything you can to make a better world. And because we think we can do it, it's not an easy task. The world as we see it is fraught with war and evil and chaos. So you always feel, what can I do? How can I do it? I mean, who am I? I'm so small. Can I stop the bombing of Iran or the killing of kids in Ukraine? Can I stop hunger? We have to start small. And everyone, if they take one small step, can make a difference, either small or big. But there's one thing you need for that. You know, in 21st century skills, you say creativity, teamwork, leadership, technology, and so many things. But you know, through my life, whatever I have tried to achieve, there were challenges. There's only one thing which I needed and which has been my armor, and that's courage. You need courage to fight the battle of life, and especially if you need to make changes. There's a poem which I love. I think many of you have read it, and some have studied it in 9th grade by Robert Frost. Someday I shall be saying this with a sigh. Two roads diverge from a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. And that's been the story of my life. But you cannot do this. You cannot take that road less traveled by unless you have a lot of courage. Because everyone, as I'll show you as we move along this path, says, why are you doing this? It's crazy. Can't do it. My father started building courage in me as a young boy, because I was timid, I was shy. And he realized that I'll have to do something to get this guy a little stronger, a little tougher. And that's me smiling there as a little boy. My father constantly taught me lessons, but one lesson was taught in the same garden where I'm sitting there. My father was the DIG of police in Meerut. And we had this big house, and at the corner of the house, because it was an ancient house, it was ancient campus built in the circuit house of Meerut. There was a land carved out for the DIG's residence. There was a grave. And there were all sorts of rumors going around, ghosts at night and so on and so forth, and we all used to talk about it, and as kids we were terrified. And one evening we were sitting there on a warm summer evening when my father said, do you see that light on that grave? And all of us who were there said, oh my God, let's go in. He said, no. Ranjit, walk to that. It was about 50 meters away. Walk to that alone and walk back. I said, how mean can he be? But then I wanted to prove that I was a man. I was 7 years old. So I walked there and I walked back. And father gave me a big applause and everybody said, wow. And then I realized, the shy boy, that maybe I could do some stuff that was not the ordinary. It's something that I could do. My father took me to so many places and challenged me to take me into the jungles and say, walk inside on your own and this and that, various things. And slowly that courage built up in me. But the final one that happened, I still remember. It was an unimaginable situation I found myself in. So live in this house. My father by now was the DG of police of UP. A beautiful 100-year-old house, which was home, residence, come office. And we had a wonderful existence. I went to a lovely school and everything else. My father was doing very well. We had many friends in Lucknow, and suddenly it seemed everything is going to change. Suddenly. There was a revolt of the police, which very few people know about, in UP on the 20th of May, 1973. My father suddenly left at midnight. And I woke up in the morning with the rest of my siblings to go to school, and my mother said, something terrible has happened. The police has revolted. The PAC, like the SRPF here. 10 or more battalions have revolted. They have taken their commandants and officers prisoner. It was like reliving 1857. The army has been called. Papa has gone there. We thought, yeah, so now what? And then I suddenly said to my mother, has the battalion in Lucknow revolted? She said, yes. I said, all the 10 guards who are guarding this 8-acre campus are from that battalion. Mother tried to call father. He couldn't answer. There were no mobile phones. Tried the SSP, the DIG. Everybody was busy. I didn't know whether these guards knew, because again, no mobile phones, whether their battalion had revolted. But we could hear, as the crow flies, the battalion was about 3 miles away. We could hear some cannons or some bombs type of thing. So mother said, oh my God, let's lock ourselves in the room and let's just hope for the best. I said, no. I'm going to go to the guard room. I was 15 years old. No, don't do that. But I went. I walked to the guard room. It was locked. Those guards were sitting inside. I'm sure they were wondering what to do. They were armed guards. DG's house was guarded by these armed fellows. I knew the guard commander a little bit. I used to play badminton with him in our house because the office was also there. It was a badminton court. The evenings I used to come back from school. So I said, guard commander. He said, Ji Saab. I said, bahar aaiye. He came out. His name was Ram Kishore Bhadoria. I said, आपको पता है कि आपके battalion में आंदोलन हो रहा है? He said, जी सर पता है. तो ऐसे अगर आप जाना चाहते हैं, आप लोग सब चले जाइए. हम सिविल पुलिस को यहाँ बुला लेंगे. I was trembling. I was so scared. I was trying to be brave. And he said, साहब, हम अपने साहब के लिए जान दे देंगे. And that was it. I went back, told my mom, it's all okay. She said, wow. And after that, the whole thing exploded. Army came, one major was killed. That says, at least 40 dead, constables, officers. I mean, it was a proper war. People don't talk about it. Nobody's known. It was suppressed because they didn't want future generations of policemen to get inspired. After this incident, I developed so much belief in myself and my abilities and the courage to take a different path, to do challenging things. And that's my message to everyone. You think you can't, but you can. The mountain seems much, much higher before you climb it when you see it from the bottom. But when you reach the top, you say, oh, so simple, there was nothing big in it. Fear is the biggest cause of losing. Fear is the biggest cause of failure. And you have to get rid of fear, develop courage through these sort of things. Parents, teachers, we've just put an adventure park, which our friends have sponsored. Adventure park, when you have to do these crazy things from childhood, develop courage. Then this helped me a little later. I finished school that very year, the ISC, and my father had a plan for me. You will go to the Lucknow University, you will sit for the civil service exam. I wanted the foreign service, he thought I should take the IAS, and all was set. And I said, yes, all that is fine, I'll do all that, but I'm not going to stay in Lucknow. I'm going to go to St. Stephen's College, Delhi. It's the best college, and if I get admission, I'll go there. Father said, no, don't go there at all. So I said, no, I'm going. Whatever happens, if I get admission, I'm going. And I got admission. My parents finally supported me. My mother was in favor because her brothers had studied in St. Stephen's College. I went there. It was scary. Your parents are against it. Originally, my father's against it. You're going to this strange environment where you hear there are Naxalites. You heard of ragging, and you knew you were going to be treated like a absolute slave over there. But I went. I was 16 years old. 10th graders are 16 now. And the first month was terrible. You're homesick, you're getting ragged, you're getting pushed around, you're getting abused verbally. But I survived that. And then that courage which had started building up in me continued. I became a member of the cabinet and made a difference in St. Stephen's College. But then the real challenge came. All this was okay, I was groomed since I was born to be in the civil service. My father was DGP, my uncle was chief secretary, my Fufaji was cabinet secretary of India, all that. So it was just presumed. And I also thought what to do, this is family tradition. So I was studying for the IAS, in the civil service. I passed the prelims. And then something out of the blue came, and that's what happens in life. You can never plan. Things just unfold. I got a call from my mother's friend who was in Missouri that Woodstock School needs a history teacher. I said, but I'm not a teacher. I've done history, and I've just passed the prelims. I'm studying for the main exam. No, please come and meet the principal. He was an American gentleman, Mr. Bill Jones. So I met him. He interviewed me. Students interviewed me. The student council also used to sometimes be called in to interview. It was a school with all American or British or Australian teachers, students from 30 countries. So he offered me the job. I was scared. I said, no, I won't take it. I have to sit for the civil service exam. He said, no, listen to me, hear me out. I'll give you only 2 periods to teach. You can study as much as you like for the civil service exam. I said, that's a deal, The Americans want a deal, like we know somebody always wants a deal. And I joined. Now that was a big break. People from my background didn't teach. Henry Ford had said, those who can do, those who can't teach. But this was a beautiful school and all that, and I thought, just for a year, I'll do it and all that. And then I decided, this is what I'll do. And I started teaching. I told my father, I'm not sitting for the main exam, and I'm just going to teach because I can make a difference. And that's when I realized that I wanted to change lives. I wanted to create generations with a value system that was going to make a difference and make the world a better place. I'm so proud of all my students from Woodstock. And then another challenge came. The school was coming up in Aurangabad. And I was told by my friend Gulab Ram Chandani that, you can consider that as a principal, because I'd been to Oxford in the meantime and had got a master's in education administration. Parents said, no, why are you going so far? Dehradun, Lucknow, Delhi, all that is fine. But I came, and I met our friends over here and many other people, Mr. and Mrs. Bajaj, Mr. Kagliwal, Mr. Gupta. And I said, this is something different. I'm getting a clean slate to write on. My ideas of education. There were so many other schools by now. This Oxford fellow has come, let's give him a job and all that kind of, we want him here with us. And finally, I came here. And with the help of our friends, started the Nath Valley School, which is today making me so proud because of all the alumni. You've heard one, you're going to hear another. Each one of them is a success, and each one of them, I was talking to people just today, are successful because they have a value system. Apart from all their other skills, they have a value system. I went off to America to teach. I taught there for a year in Northfield, Mount Hermon, a lovely school. And then I came back, even though I could have stayed there, came back. And now the question is, Nath Valley is doing well. It's got wonderful children. What next? What's the next challenge? And I still have that courage and the passion and the drive and the fire. And we are thinking of this is Nath Valley then and now, we are thinking of an IB school. This is just notional. Aurangabad must have an IB school. That's what's for the future. And that's my next challenge. I have the courage to do it. I've told you how I developed that courage and all the problems I may have faced, but came out fighting. So friends, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. And have the courage also to make a difference. Thank you very much.